So I wanted to discuss a little bit about the Lyme disease history of Carrie's illness. I thought that might be a good thing to put out here a little bit. I'm still in the Santa Monica office, but I'm facing the other direction. So her Lyme started to show itself really, where we really noticed it. Right after she had surgery. She had her gastric bypass, and I think it was 2008. Or was that mine? It was about 6 years ago. Yeah, maybe. Okay. And I had a flu, and then she caught it right as she was recovering from her surgery, like just a couple days after, which was bad. But she never got better. And then she started having this intense pain throughout her body, like in her joints, and her major muscles, actually. She had it in her legs. I remember her thighs were really affected, and I think her arms were affected. So I don't know if it was totally her joints or if it was the main muscles. But so we kept going to our primary care doctor, and he, would refer out to this one or to that one or to this one or to that one, and kept prescribing Vicodin. And he had her on Vicodin for about a good 6 months or something after the surgery, so it just kept going. And then Carrie got really addicted. Maybe it was even longer. It might have been even like a year or something. And so that complicated everything, because that also added to all this pain that she would have. So it's kind of like, is it the pain, is it the Vicodin, the withdrawal of the Vicodin? Like, that was definitely affecting things. So she was still kind of working off and on, but having problems at work. She'd miss a lot, sleep in, have trouble getting to work. And then she was getting a little bit of brain fog. Eventually, we got her off of the pain meds. An addiction specialist helped us, because the doctor just didn't want to be embarrassed in his office. She gets kind of loud. Then, let me see. As it progressed, we went to, I mean, this has been like so ongoing. I mean, we've been to like 15 specialists for this, for that, try this, try that, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. I mean, nobody ever thought about Lyme. And just before, I think, the surgery, we had actually gone to Mammoth. And I have a feeling that that's where she got it, was Mammoth. Could be wrong. When we first met, we went to Lake Tahoe, and that's definitely a place that has ticks, and she could have gone out there, but she didn't have any symptoms, so Mammoth seemed like it was more likely. But we're not sure. We don't really know. She never had that classic, like, bullseye rash that people talk about, and my understanding now of Lyme is that most people don't have that. Or, like, less than 50% of the people will know that they got bit by a tick and all that kind of stuff. So, who knows? There was something that we thought maybe there was something on her head that we remember going like, what's that rash? That's just weird. So that could have been it. She could have gotten like a tick fall on her head or something. But, who knows? I mean, we just don't know. As her disease progressed, she would be sitting at her desk and fall asleep. And she'd be trying to work and fall asleep. So the fatigue got really bad. Those were some of the first early signs. She started losing jobs. She couldn't hold the jobs, which is crazy. She was a top aerospace engineer in the nation. So she used to be, really like work hard and stuff like that. And then she couldn't handle it, and then she'd lose the job, and then she'd go on disability for a while and then try to go back to work and lose the job, and it just wasn't working. Finally, the doctor said something about chronic fatigue, and and fibromyalgia. And I was like, that would make sense. Nobody thought of it. We don't know why we didn't think of it, but okay. So, but nothing was getting better. So I said, okay, let's try to find somebody who specializes in chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. So of course you have to become your own medical advocate when you have something like this. So found a doctor in Pasadena through the Holtorf Clinic. The Holtorf Clinic says they specialize in Lyme too. And they have doctors who have been treating it for many, many, many years. And we went and said, you know, she has chronic fatigue, this is what's going on, like, you know, the brain problems started happening. And the doctor said, well, from what you're describing, it sounds like you may have Lyme disease. Lyme disease. Never even thought about that. I didn't know the symptoms. I mean, thought it was something in Connecticut. So California, Southern California, that didn't make any sense, but okay. So he said, you know, you got to get tested for it. We got to see. And it was like, the test was expensive. That test, I think, cost $500. The doctor's office itself was like $400. You know, their supplements, their stuff. I mean, at one point, God, it was crazy. The doctor was really, we liked him a lot. Dr. Christopher Surratt was his name. While she was seeing him, he had her on Rocephin. Like, every day we did injections, and that got painful for her. And then she would get so sick, and her nervous system was so bad that she would wake up in the morning and she'd be completely cramped in a fetal position, and I would have to unfold her legs. There were times that she had to use a walker, that she couldn't walk around without a walker. It was just that bad. The pain was so severe. He had her do a thing on her arm. I can't remember the name of what that is. It's like a thing that you can inject medications in through your arm, and it goes through your body, and I think it goes through your heart too. So she had to have that all the time, and so we were doing the medications through that, and then one day she got really ill and had to go to the hospital, and had to have emergency surgery. We thought that maybe there was something wrong with the gastric bypass, but it wasn't. The Rocephin caused her intestines to cramp up really bad, and the doctor actually would see, they thought maybe it was telescoping, and it wasn't. It was just these huge muscle spasms of her intestines that would just not stop, and it actually caused her heart to have major heart palpitations. So they had to stop it was like IV in Rocephin, and that was every day. We'd have to go in and do the IVs, and it was expensive. It was ridiculously expensive. It was like $300 a day to do the IVs. You have to go like 4 times a week. It was like $1,000 a day, $1,000 a week. It's insanely expensive. Crazy expensive. And then, so we had that taken out, the thing in her arm, taken out, the port that would allow her to have the medications there. And her symptoms continued to worsen. And they say with the medication treatments, the IV, the antibiotics, that it gets worse before it gets better. Like, you have to keep it being bad. It's a horrible disease. Like, literally, the medications make you worse because it's like the toxins of the Lyme dying off go into your body, and they have to keep pumping it, month after month after month. And if you start to feel better, then they need to change it. It's so bad. It's so bad. So then it started to affect her brain, and the brain stuff has been really scary. Her cognitive ability is so bad now, she can't work at all. She used to be brilliant now, and she had a photographic memory. Now, I have menopause and my memory's bad. Hers, 10 times worse. It's so bad. Sometimes she can't find her way from point A to point B, even though she's been there a million times. So she loses things constantly loses things. It's like she can't barely do math anymore. And I mean, she was an aerospace engineer. That's like really, she revolutionized the whole industry. Now she can't do basic math. It's just sad. It's a huge dramatic change. It's caused her moods to fluctuate tremendously. And sometimes she gets periods of hallucinations. Sometimes she gets periods of like delusions. Sometimes she gets like dementia symptoms. There was a day when I've had to call paramedics repeatedly, like so many times, for different things. And like there was a day that she got so bad that she was repeating the same thing over and over and doing this repetitive motion. Just boom, 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 like nothing could stop. She just kept doing this repetitive motion. And they had to take her to the hospital, of course. She's had where she can't barely write anymore. Writing is really hard for her. She gets these huge, like, jerks. And so she'll be writing and jerk. And sometimes, often it's her whole entire body will jerk like that. She has a lot of trouble with food and eating. People say you need to have a good diet, like a caveman diet. It's like she can't really eat like that, so that's not working. She has to eat like breads a lot and stuff. Despite some of the foods that she eats, like she's been eating fast food, she's been eating crap like pizza like constantly, and despite that she's losing a lot of weight, which is kind of scary. She has these bad episodes. Sometimes she sleeps for days and days. Other times she can't sleep at all. Her sleep schedule is so off. They, at this point, have put her on Xyrem for sleep. Xyrem is intense. Xyrem is liquid GHB. Prescription. It's usually only used for narcolepsy, and it's used now for her Lyme. It's really salty, so it can throw your body off, and I think her immune system is just tapped. One thing that is really scary that I think people really need to know about is that there are times that she'll do things that she has no recollection of. Like she'll do lots of things that she does not remember, and she'll be really upset, like, I never did that, I never said that, I never did all that stuff that you're telling me I did. She has no memory. There'll be days that she doesn't remember what happened. I'll tell her, look, we had this conversation, or we did this, or do you remember we went and did that? No, she doesn't remember at all. Even with trying to jog her memory, she won't remember. But one of the things that is scary, she's been in 3 car accidents. The first one she got into, she says that the sun got in her eyes. Maybe. I don't know. But the thing that is sad, or the thing that is really concerning, is when there's something that is scary like that just woof, that hits your adrenaline, she'll dump after. And after that dump, she looks like she's drunk. I mean, her body cannot handle anything. She doesn't process cognitively correctly. She won't make sense. She can't answer questions clearly. She will be all over the place. Her brain just cannot think clearly. She'll have trouble, like, you know that she needs to sit down because it's like everything is gone. She appears like she's intoxicated. So after her first car accident, they thought that maybe she was high on her medications. So they sent her to the hospital with an officer because they were going to give her a DUI. But when they got to the hospital and they gave her the IV, she perked back up. And the officer said, you obviously are not intoxicated. And I explained to them, this is what happens to her when she has an adrenaline dump. But they were like, no, the officer was like, I'm a specialist in intoxication with DUIs and blah, 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 and I know it when I see it. Well, you were wrong, because it wasn't them. second car accident, she had been prescribed a medication for the first time, took it, and it did not respond well with her body. And she has barely any recollection. She was driving all night long. She was driving everywhere. And that's scary. She doesn't know. She had no recollection of this at all. And then a woman in front of her hit like a cone. You know, there were cones on the freeway. And it flew up. And she had a choice of either like running into the person or running into the cones. So she went running into the cones. And then, of course, she had an adrenaline dump. And it made dents in the car and stuff like that. And so they did write her up for DUI. Even though they found, you know, they did all the sobriety tests and everything, she passed everything, but the officer was like, I know you're on something, I know you are. So they gave her a DUI. And when they called me, I explained this is what happened, blah, 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 this is what does happen. And they just brought her home. That's kind of weird. They brought her to the house. They didn't put her in jail or anything like that, or they just brought her home. Kind of strange. Then she had another one. When she was driving back with the trailer, she said the trailer lunged forward. Like they were stopped and then it lunged. So, I don't know. She was kind of in the middle of an episode at that point, so I don't know if she got in an accident. I know that the trailer got a flat tire close to where you take it back. And she left the trailer with a flat. I think it's still there with the flat. So... But, you know, judgment gets really impaired. And it's like an off and on thing. It's kind of scary. Because it's not something that happens all the time. It's like, she'll be fine, she'll be okay, she's thinking clearly. And then she's not. And it seems like, and she doesn't realize that she's not. So that's kind of scary. So, I have heard of this in other people. Her speech will be impaired too. She'll sound like she's slurring her words. It's, other people I've heard talk about this. There was a show that's all about Lyme. It's called, what's it called? Under Her Skin. We watched that, and it was a lot of her symptoms we see in there. It's really scary. It's destroyed her life, and it's destroying my life. Because it's so controversial, this is fun. There's been we've had some serious consequences from this. One consequence was her doctor. Her doctor, after a few years of just getting frustrated because he didn't know what was wrong and didn't know what to do, decided, this is funny, he had gotten her hooked on the Vicodin, so we got her off of the Vicodin, and then he says, the problem is you're just a drug addict. There's nothing wrong with you, you're just a drug addict. And he was convinced. He was absolutely convinced that she was a drug addict. So much so that he had this whole confrontation with her and dropped her as a client. Calls me up as my doctor, says he wants to see me before refilling one of my medications. Why did he want to see me? Because he wanted to make sure that I was aware that she was a drug addict. I said, okay, what is she addicted to? Because she's off of all the stuff that you had prescribed that got her addicted. She's been off of it for 2 years. What is it that she's addicted to? She's taking her medication that's prescribed. No, she's a drug addict, she's a drug addict, she's a drug addict. I said, we went and saw an addiction specialist and she's off of it. What is it that she's addicted to that's causing all these problems? Didn't matter. She's a drug addict. That's it. Violate her HIPAA rights, by the way, to do that. So we reported him to the HIPAA board so that they could, you know, let him know that that was not cool. That was not okay. And he proceeded that he dropped both of us as clients. Oh well. So now I don't have a doctor either, a general practitioner. So there was that. The medications and the treatments and the doctors and the... it's been so expensive. It's been so expensive. We, in credit card debt, are over 60 grand, $60,000 in credit card debt. We've paid maybe $90,000 out of pocket. This has been over $150,000 of medical bills. Doctors, hospitals, ambulances, medicines, IVs, the thing on her arm that I can't remember what it's called, surgery. It's just been insane. Insane. Now her disability has run out, so I am financially totally responsible for her, which is really hard. I have done everything I humanly possibly can to try to bring in money. I've hired people, I've brought in other staff so that they can see clients to help bring in money. Nothing is enough. Nothing is enough. So I am very quickly, rapidly going broke. I'm actually at the point where we're getting collections calls, and I think we bounced the mortgage the other day. We definitely bounced her health insurance. We got that reinstated, thank God. We thought she lost her health insurance. We really did. And she wasn't going to be able to get it back. Our power, yeah, we're getting threats that our power is going to be shut off. The house is tore up. It looks bad. It looks really bad. And, you know, a lot of, like, what she does when she's medicated or when she's in her episode, she'll do strange things. Like, she poured water on the floor accidentally. She knocked it all over the floor. She's trying to mop it up with my plastic shoe. With a shoe. Like, I was like, what are you doing? She'll spill everywhere. I walked in, and she had plates, like several paper plates, and had bags of chips that she'd poured all over the plates and all over the floor. She's like, I'm trying to make dinner. I'm like, go lay down. There's been lots of that kind of stuff. There was a night I'll wake up to things that are just disastrous. Oh God, the weird things she does at night is just torture. She'll do things like, I had this big bowl of potpourri that was in the living room. There was this huge, I can't even see it. This huge bowl. And one morning I woke up and that potpourri was everywhere. Everywhere. It was all over the carpet. It was all over the kitchen. Everywhere. There was cushions from all of the couches put all over the house. It was just bizarre. She'll start doing this weird sleepwalking thing where she's sort of in this half awake, half sleeping thing. She'll come in and like, well, I want to talk to you. No, we got to talk about this. And it'll be 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, go to bed. It'll get so frustrating. There's times that she's in this state where she's really not lucid, and I'll say, come on, you got to go to bed, and I'll try to guide her towards the bed. She'll get very combative. There's times that she's pushed me. There's times that she's grabbed my wrists or hurt me. There's one time that she got really aggressive, where she was like, you want to fight me? And she lunged at me. And, yeah. Like she was going to try to take me down, and she did. She pushed me down. And, I'm a 6-foot woman. She's strong. She's strong. Even though she's so sick and has kind of lost all of her muscle mass and everything, she's still stronger than me. That was a big deal. That was scary. She was not lucid. I mean, it's not like she was being violent, just like domestic violence kind of thing, like normal. It was like demented. She was in dementia state. It's like sleepwalky kind of state. Like she'll just do these repetitive things. She'll go in and out of the kitchen fridge, in and out, in and out, in and out. It's like, oh God. I'll try to get her to go to bed, and she's like in and out of everything, and then she'll start fights out of the blue. What? Like, go to bed. It's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. It's like, then I can't sleep all night. I had to get her in her own apartment. I just could not take it anymore. As scary as that is, because I know that she's hurt herself in the apartment. I know there was a day that she went wandering around, and she went to the trash can and couldn't find her way back to her apartment, and her neighbors had to help her get back, and thank God for her neighbors because they watch out for her. I played a voicemail of, you know, like times that they think she's sleepwalking. And I don't know if she's sleepwalking or not, or she's in this weird state. There was one time that she climbed up on top of the cabinet and said she had to get something out of the cabinet. And I went rushing over there because I was like, oh God. It was too late. She started trying to climb back down and she fell and hit her head. There's been so much of this crazy stuff. And then there's been a high cost in addition to the finances and just trying to navigate and manage her. In addition to all of that, the loss of her family. I know they blame me. They think I'm crazy. They think I'm psycho. Her mom even called me psycho. She said, that psycho girlfriend of yours. That's been really hard. That's been really painful, actually, for both of us. There was a night that she was really, really suicidal. She was done. She was exhausted. She wanted to kill herself. She wanted to die. She was so deeply depressed and desperate that I was, you know, I'm a therapist. I'm a trauma specialist. Like, I deal with suicidality all the time. I felt like she may need to go to the hospital. But if I could get her family just a little more involved, it might stave some of the crisis. It was one of those times. So I was like, okay, let me call her family. Let me get them involved. But she was like, don't call them. Don't talk to them. Don't tell them. This is just between us. It was too much. It was too much. So I wrote her mom an email. And I told her the things that she was saying because she was not in the right state of mind. And I said, you know, like, please call her. She needs family support. Please go visit her and call her. But I also in this email told her, like, some of the things that were going on that, you know, like, Carrie moved to an apartment. Nobody ever went to visit her. Nobody ever was concerned. Like, they thought we were breaking up. Nothing. Nothing. Her mom says that she tried to help. She tried to call to go over there. I believe that. I believe that she did. I believe that Carrie blocked a lot of stuff. She does that. She doesn't realize how often she does that because she's sick. She doesn't feel well. It's too much. She's in too much pain. So she doesn't want to be around people. So I know that happens. But, like, literally, her mom will drive, her mom and her dad will drive by the house, literally on the freeway to go see her other sister and her kids, not stop by to say hi. Never, ever. She'll drive by at least 2 to 3 times a month. Never has gone to her apartment, ever. Something's up. And it's kind of weird because, like, Carrie's been the one who's always been there for them. Jumps through hoops. Now, granted, she did that kind of as a feeling guilty thing, but also that's her nature. She likes to help. So I was really pissed that they weren't doing anything. And my family has been rescuing me financially because this has been ridiculous. So I also said, you know, hey, my family's been forking out a lot of money here. Like, you know, I'm a little frustrated that you guys have not, you know, offered to help at all. Nothing. Like, you guys aren't really, you know, doing it. Like, support her. You know, do something. Call her a little bit more or something. Her mom, vicious. Oh, wow, it was vicious. Her responses were vicious. Well, I said, you know, because I expressed, like, she might be dying. Like, I don't know if she's going to be okay. And that's really honest. That's not, like, being dramatic. Like, she's been losing a lot of weight. Not just the gastric bypass. She's not right. Like, you know, it's bad. Her mom says, well, you should just, you know, put her in hospice. Damn. And she was mean about it. And she called Carrie and was angry and accusatory. And her sister texted her and said, tell that bitch to shut the F up. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I was telling her how Carrie was feeling. I don't know what I'm talking about. What? I wanted them to reach out to help because she was wanting to die and kill herself. Okay. Well, so I figured they don't know what's really going on. I can't imagine. I mean, we were having good relationships. Like, we go over there all the time, went over there every Thanksgiving, like, for years. I didn't understand. But I sensed things weren't right. Like, the Christmas before, it was weird. People were really distant, kind of hostile. It was very confusing. Nobody said anything. It was just this weird dynamic, and we couldn't figure it out. It certainly made me really uncomfortable. They were doing me really weird, so I was like, I don't know. So there was something going on. Neither one of us knows or knew. But then Carrie would have these delusional episodes, and it got kind of scary again. So I called her mom, or I texted her mom and asked for help. And I was literally begging, please call her, please go see her, Oh, hoarding. Carrie can't clean anything. She hoards. She just doesn't have it in her to clean up. Everything just becomes this huge mess. And I mean really bad. Really bad. It was unmanageable. I mean, even my housekeeper could not deal with it. It's like, I ain't touching that. So I was begging her mom, please, you gotta help. You gotta call. You gotta do something. She sends me something back. Don't tell me how to handle my daughter. I know what I'm doing. I know how to handle her. This is not about you. I said, and I sent her that. This is not about you. This is about her. It's about Carrie. Carrie's in trouble. Like, whatever I've done, just, let it go. Leave it alone. Call her. Deal with her. Do something. Don't tell me how to handle my daughter. Then don't contact us. So I started sending them videos of what Carrie's been looking like. Pictures, videos. I wanted them to understand. Like, she's really in trouble. I need help. I can't manage all of this. I've been working 14-hour days. I mean, I'm doing everything I possibly can. I can't manage her too. I can't manage her medications. Things are falling apart. It's just, I need help. I need a break sometimes. Like, maybe I was asking, could I bring her over maybe for the weekend so I can have a little bit of time to myself, because it's exhausting. I'm so tired. I'm so tired from trying to manage all of this. It's too much. Her mom's like, it's too much for me. No. Her sister writes me this thing. That's so mean. This is what you signed on for when you married her. This is what's yours. It's your responsibility. She's almost 50 years old. Grow up. Yeah. Not once. Her sister lied. Her sister lied. She said, oh, I've been over to the apartment several times and Carrie's never there. She's never been to the apartment. That's such a lie. She lives like far. She lives kind of far, She's got kids. She's the one who's responsible for them. And she's never bothered to go visit her. She didn't even bother to call. So all of a sudden, she's just like dropping by the apartment? No, I don't think so. I don't even think so. Like, why lie? Why would you even do that? Why even say that? What a load of crap. So I used to try to have a relationship with that family. I have no respect for them left. I have just such disdain. It disgusts me how they just abandoned her. They just abandoned her. I mean, okay, if you don't like me because I tried to reach out for help and told you what was going on and told you like it is, fine. Don't like me, but don't take it out on her. She didn't do anything. She did nothing. Like, any kind of contact that I had was my reaching out. They just, they don't care about her. They just disdain. It's just been appalling. It's made her illness so much worse. It's made this so much worse. And her mom, evil witch, evil. has turned every member of that family against her. And then I hear, this is what she does. Even her dad really identified with her. Even her dad turned on her. He's like, well, you should take responsibility for what? You know, I watched the dynamics. It was just heartbreaking for me. It was so heartbreaking because Carrie tried to be really calm, just tried to talk and say, like, I'm trying, you know, I can't focus. I can't, my thoughts don't come out clearly. I can't hold my thoughts. She tried to tell them. They just don't believe her. They don't believe it. They're in complete, I don't know, denial. They don't give a shit. They finally said, this is great. They said, don't contact us anymore. You want to have any contact? Go through your older sister who doesn't give a shit about you. Who basically thinks you're trash. That's nice. That's good. Yeah. You know, when her husband had a heart attack, when her husband had, you know, a knee surgery, and who was the one who came through every time? Every time. None of the other siblings, it was Carrie. And when it's her turn, and she needs help, she can't be bothered. She's just vicious, 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 and ugly. Ugly. So, she lost that family. And my sister, God love her. God, thank God for Mary. Mary, if you ever watch this, I just want you to know you are the most amazing, generous human being on the planet. Thank you so much, because you have done so much. I am so grateful to you, because this is so overwhelming. It's too much. It's just too much. And you guys have done nothing but just try to help, and I'm so grateful. You've paid for all the doctor's appointments now, and you've been helping me and getting me out if I can't pay my, like, electric bill. Put her in an apartment so that I can at least have some space. Just to try to manage it, just to, so that I could be here. Thank you so much. I feel so guilty that I've needed to ask like that for help. Carrie feels so bad that no one in her family is even willing to step up. It's been so bad. I'm at the point I'm gonna lose my house. And my business runs out of my house. I think that we're gonna have to move closer to my sister. And I think that they have really mixed feelings about it. Because I know that they are, you know, like, they're okay giving money and doing that, but I think having to deal with this as much as I have to, I think is gonna be overwhelming. And I think they know that it's gonna be a lot if I have to move up there. And that is so hard. Because these are, like, the people who are my support system. I mean, I've lost all my friends just because I don't have time. I love my friends, I just don't have time. And I know that they'd be supportive. But I'm so exhausted. I think, for those of you who deal with Lyme or family, I just wanted to put this out here so that you could see you're not alone in your fight and kind of what this is like. I hope that this helps somebody in some way, our journey. I'm asking Carrie to do some of this too. She wants to, but she's been really reluctant. I think just because she gets sick a lot, and it feels like too much, and it's too much to handle. So hopefully she'll be able to do some too, and we'll post it.